Previously, I talked about the units of language that it ranges from words to phrases to clauses and to sentences, meaning that a sentence is the highest category when it comes to units of language, followed by the clause and then the phrase and then a word. So in any expression or utterance in English language, you have a combination of words. So when you have a combination of words that functions as a single unit, that is as one part of speech, that is a phrase. But when you have a combination of words that form part of a sentence but has the subject and the predicate, that is a clause. That brings me to my topic for today. I want to talk about clauses as long as the English language is concerned. So a clause is a group of words that has the subject and the predicate. For example, Jesus wept. Jesus is the subject, wept is the predicate. The subject can be somebody's name, it can be a pronoun, that is a word used in place of a noun. It can be a noun phrase or whatever nominal. Anything that can name can stand at the position of the subject. Then the predicate can be a word. For instance, a verb like wept, that's a predicate. It can be a verb and other constituents of a sentence. So the predicate is that part of a sentence or part of a clause from the verb. I come to school every day. Come to school every day is the predicate in that sentence, whereas I is just the subject. So that is a clause. Then we have two types of clauses. We have the subordinate clause and the independent clause. A subordinate clause can also be seen as a dependent clause. It is called subordinate or dependent because of its nature. It depends on the main clause to make complete sense. For instance, if we have, if it rains, I will not go to the market. If it rains, I will not go to the market. If it rains is a clause, but such clause is known as a subordinate clause. It is a clause because it has the subject, it, and the verb, rains. But the conjunction introducing this clause makes it a subordinate clause. We have if before it rains. So if it rains indicates a subordinate clause. Reason being that that clause cannot stand alone to make complete sense. So until we add the other part of the sentence, I will not go to the market. I will not go to the market will make it a complete sentence. So the word if indicates that something else must be joined to that clause before it can make complete sense. So when we say an independent clause, we are referring to a clause that can stand on its own and make complete sense. For instance, I will not go to the market makes complete sense. But when you say if it rains, the word if makes that clause to be dependent. You cannot end it there because somebody will ask, what will happen if it rains? So you need the complete statement to call it a sentence. So that kind of a sentence is known as complex sentence. A complex sentence is that sentence that is made up of the subordinate clause and the dependent clause. The subordinate clause is that part that cannot stand alone and make complete sense, even when it has the subject and the predicate. Whereas the main clause is that part that can stand on its own and makes complete sense. So When you have an expression like this, note that it is a clause, and note the combination of clauses that can make up a complex sentence. Note a sentence is a group of words that makes complete sense. So any group of words that doesn't make complete sense is not a sentence. So even when you have the constituent of a sentence in it, because it doesn't make complete sense, you cannot call it a sentence. So remember here that after a sentence as a unit of language, the next one is a clause, and that a clause is a group of words that has the subject and the predicate. Also note that a clause can be dependent or subordinate. Again, a clause can be independent or main clause. Thank you very much for watching this video. I remain Teacher Dixon.